Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Davis versus Garcia fight. If you are new around here though and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and let's get straight into it. So going into this fight, Davis is 27-0 with 25 KOs and Garcia is 16-0 with 10 KOs. This fight is a 12-round fight in the lightweight division. Davis's last fight was a win via TKO in round 6 versus Romero, and Garcia's last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Gutierrez. This is Garcia's toughest fight yet by far. I mean, you can't really say otherwise. He's had some tough fights, but this is definitely his toughest fight by far. Davis has immense power and great timing with his counter-punching style, which invites you on and then will punish you for any kind of defensive error that you might give, and you might kind of provide Davis the opportunity to capitalize on. And I mean, that kind of is what happens with Garcia at times. He has a very good attack and great shot selection, and he's a very attacking fighter, but he does drop his hands sometimes and can be left in a punishable position and does take punches, but so does Garcia. Garcia does take punches sometimes to give punches, and so it would be interesting to see who can kind of outpunch each other. But typically in the past, Davis has been able to counter punch his way through fights, and especially against fighters like this that will drop their hands when they're attacking at times and leave themselves defensively vulnerable. It will mean that Davis will be there to capitalize a lot of the time. And to be fair, Davis, when he does take a punch himself, he's got a good chin and good defense, so he is a very well-rounded fighter. And so that's obviously why he's such a good fighter, and so I think that could be something that could be very punishable and something that Davis is going to have to look out for. Also on this card is Ennis versus Chukhadzian for the IBF Interim World Welterweight belt, in which I think Ennis will win via KO in round 4. Ennis is a mental fighter, and the way the run he's been going on and the way he's just been getting everybody out of there is crazy. And I mean, I didn't really know too much about him when he was coming up, and it seems like everybody kind of hyped him up from the beginning, and he's always just delivered. And so I think he will again now, and just like I say, get a KO in round 4. I think this fight will not really be too tough of a fight for him, but it is another fight that should happen because they're at a similar kind of point in the rankings. And so realistically, if Ennis wants to get a title fight, an IBF one, as this is the interim fight, I think that should happen for that next fight to happen for him to get a world title shot next. Going back onto the other fight, Davis is somewhat of a slow starter, and I suppose for Garcia that's something that he might want to capitalise on, because obviously if he's the attacking fighter, if he starts very quickly, it might be able to catch Davis off guard and not expecting that. Garcia, his last 2 fights have probably been his best 2 fights, and he's had a very good 2022, and so he's got a good momentum coming into this fight and got things going in his favour. This is probably the right time in his career to have this fight, arguably. I mean, at least so far in his career. Davis is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Davis will win via TKO in round 8. I think it won't be too tough of a test for him, and it'll be similar to the fights he's had as of recent. As long as he doesn't overlook this fight and kind of think about the Ryan Garcia fight, then I think he'll be able to get him out there and get a counter punch and just be able to knock him out or TKO him in the later rounds in round 8. And and then of course I've just mentioned it, I think then he should go and fight Ryan Garcia. Realistically, I think that's the only option and should be the option, and that's the fight that everybody wants to see, and I believe it will happen after this. Hopefully, fingers crossed it will. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you didn't, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.